So a really spiritual experience I had with one companion, um, me and him, it's not that we didn't get along, we just were completely different. It was like black and white. Way different people, came from way different backgrounds, and it was just going to be really hard to, I knew after the first day that it was going to be really, really hard, and so did he. After the first day that it was going to be tough. But we just both had that goal in mind. We wanted to do what the Lord called us to do. We wanted to be great missionaries. And so that's what we tried to do, and everything just worked out. And we had tons of spiritual experiences that transfer because of it. We taught a lot of, in particular, we went to a hospital, and we taught a lot of people in the hospital. And that was a really, really spiritual experience, because in the hospital you were able to see people that were sick, were on their deathbed, and they just all seemed to tap out and just cry for God, always. But before that, they who knows, maybe they would have, maybe they wouldn't have. But something about being in a hospital, and being sick, seeing those people be sick, you felt something. They all wanted God to help them. They all felt like they were helpless, especially in Hungarian hospitals. Those are very, very, very scary looking hospitals to be in. People are sick. The medical isn't very good down there. It's not like it is in the US. It's not like, in the U.S. it's the best. Anywhere else you go in the world, you're not going to find it like it is in the U.S., obviously. So, these people were just, and we went to the skin place, the skin disease area, I guess you could say, a lot. And we taught a lot of people, and it went from us teaching one person to getting another referral to teach someone else in the hospital. They all wanted to hear about God, and they all wanted to try to get in touch with them maybe before they even died. And it's really sad, because you see all these graves with crosses on them, but not a lot of people go down believing in God. Even though they have the cross on the grave, but they all want to towards the end. A lot of them want to towards the end. When I saw that, I kind of thought of Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane, him suffering, bleeding from every pore, and him screaming out to his Father. He asked his Father to help him, and that's exactly how that's exactly what it was like. That was kind of the feel. It was like, wow, these people are crying out for God. They want help. And so it was really, really interesting to see that. And as children of God, we all do that. At some point in our lives, but it's just, these Hungarians have just gone through so much, and it's, a lot of them are dead set on never believing in a God, and just, that kind of thing. But that just breaks them down. They always get broken down, and they always just want, they want happiness, So I learned how to flip crepes really well, and how to flip eggs really well. So that I learned how to do really good. The next thing I learned how to do, obviously you have those habits you get into of, daily scripture study, waking up at 6:30, saying your morning and nightly prayers, all that stuff. But in particular, I would say, the Palatine flipping, and I just really learned on a more deeper level. I learned how to really understand people, and what they're going through, where they're coming from. Because it's really easy, especially from a sheltered place like where we come. I came from a sheltered place. I'm from Mesa, Arizona, but we had great support in my ward, and I went to a great high school, and I had great friends growing up and things like that. And it's just a lot different in these countries. So you really have to learn how to understand these people, and if they're yelling at you, if they're really mad at you, there's a reason why. There's a reason why they're doing that to you. It's not just because they're doing it because they they hate the world. Something happened in their lives to get them to really, just to do that. I don't know. You just have to learn, try to understand, never just assume that they just hate you because they hate you. It's not why. So always just kind of take a step back, look at why they could be acting this way, and then act from there. But never assume anything. So I think that's what I learned on my mission the best, is try to understand people a lot better. by not, assuming things based off of what they're doing right then and there to you or to somebody else. So, the most extreme weather experience. So I was in a city called Eger, and it was a winter time. And we were tracting. I had gloves on, I had a beanie on, I had a huge jacket on, and I was just freezing my tail off. My fingers were frozen, my nose, I couldn't feel my nose, I couldn't feel my ears either, my cheeks were super cold, and my eyes were just burning because of how dry it was outside. And that's another thing with Hungary, is the winter is really dry and really, really moisty as well. There were different times in Eger when it was both. And I remember the dry part, your eyes just hurt, your lips get really chapped fast, you just get really cold, but it just kind of gets like the outer part of you. But when the moisture comes in the winter time and it's just really foggy everywhere, then it just gets out the outside and it just gets down to your bones. It just freezes you. And when you get into those furnace Hungarian apartments in the winter time, it's really nice because you get to, obviously like warm up and stuff. They definitely know how to warm themselves up. And so, yeah, that was probably the craziest part, was the winter time, is just seeing that moisture and then the dryness just come and go really fast. It's really hard on my body. You get used to it, but at the beginning, you'll find that it's really tough. The best advice I could give a return missionary coming home is get busy. Just right when you get home, get busy with you. Don't focus too much on what happened in the mission. Don't focus too much on even like the future. Like, don't live in the future. Don't have this this assumption of how your mission is going to go when you get home, because the chances are probably isn't going to happen that way, and you're probably going to be very disappointed, because there is a lot of things that change after you come back. So never just assume that everything's going to go the way that you want it to, and don't be disappointed when it doesn't. Just take everything that you learned in the mission and apply it to your life, and don't feel bad if you feel like you're kind of going off course maybe, or if it's really hard for you to adjust. It's hard for every missionary to adjust when he comes back. You just really have to just go with it. Just go with the flow. You have to be like water. If you put water into a water bottle, it becomes a water bottle. If you put water into a teapot, it becomes a teapot. Don't be a rock trying to fit into a water bottle into your life. Just go with it. Just go with everything that comes at you when you come back, and just apply everything that you learned. Apply everything that you learned on your mission the best that you can, and it'll start to get easier and easier for you, because it's really hard. It's not like, I kind of thought it was going to be like Superman coming home from my mission because of how spiritual I was. Because of all these things, but life back home is hard. It's really hard, and at the MTC they don't prepare you to come back home. So I would just be ready to be like water when you get back. There's a huge, so in Nyíregyháza, it's great when you serve there, because, by the way, shout out to all my other areas as well. I keep on talking about Nyíregyháza, but shout out to all the other ones as well. In my first area, Nyíregyháza, they had tons of festivals all the time. There's a dance festival, a food festival. Then at that food festival that we went to, there was all kinds of different Hungarian foods. So I like I said, I really had an opportunity to kind of jump the gun on the Hungarian food thing, just because of Nyíregyháza. And so at this food festival, there was, stuffed cabbage, there was töltött kapusta, and then there was rakott krumpli, and then there was gyümölcsleves, and then there was this stuff called vérhagyma. And I didn't really know what that meant. I didn't really know what blood was yet. Vér, that's blood, and hagyma is like potatoes. And so or not potatoes. Oh gosh, can you cut that? Because sure. I just totally screwed that up. Sure. So vérhagyma is probably one of the nastiest things that I had in Hungary at this festival in Nyíregyháza, because it's blood. It's like boiled blood, basically, and you're just eating chunks of blood with some salt, some pepper, maybe some paprika, and that's it. But you're pretty much just eating chunks of blood. So that was pretty hard for me. It was okay. It wasn't as bad as some of the other things that I had. I definitely have a top 5 list, and that is probably at the bottom of the top 5, but it is pretty gross. It's pretty bland and just salty and just tastes like blood. So enjoy. Jó étvágyat. One time I was riding my bike and dangerous experience. Yeah, that's probably the most dangerous. I was riding my bike and there was, so in Hungary and Europe in general, the streets are really skinny, and there's really big roads in Hungary. I mean, well, big for Hungary, I guess. The main roads, and then you have the side streets. And then you had like condos, you had a condo street, condo street, condo street. And the streets were really, really skinny. So, I mean, you can't really see too far into the street if you're coming from the other side. So me and my companion were riding our bikes down the sidewalk, and I was just riding my bike, and all of a sudden this car just comes out of nowhere and nails me right on my right side. So the car hit me, and I rolled over and hit the windshield on the car. So I rolled on the hood of the car, hit the windshield, then rolled back down off the car, and it got up and there's nothing wrong. And the coolest thing about it was that, like, this part of me was not, there's nothing wrong. I had a couple of scratches on my legs and stuff like that, but I mean, pretty much everything from my knees up to my shoulder, up to my head, there's nothing wrong. And I just got up, brushed it off, and just got on my bike. And I mean, my bike was it was pretty damaged, but I got up, I was able to ride it. And the lady, I remember she was just like in the car like this, and just looking at me like, what just happened? Oh, he is alive? How is he alive? And how did he just get up and ride his bike away? Like, that's crazy. So we're definitely protected by God in those crazy situations. But don't go looking to do anything too crazy with your bike or anything, because, I mean, accidents happen. So yeah, just be safe. I had a helmet on, so that really helped. I fell on my head, and the helmet protected me. But yeah, just don't always stop. If you're in Europe, anywhere, just stop before that street, because you could get hit by a car. So